Welcome to the show, Texas Republican Congressman Randy Weber. He represents the state's 14th congressional district and sits on the House Energy and Commerce Committee and the Science, Space, and Technology Committee as well. Congressman Weber, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry to hear everything that's going on in your state right now. Some of your constituents, I understand, are actually they're in the flood zone. They're helping with search and rescue. How's your community doing right now? What are you hearing from them?
Well, thanks, Anna. We appreciate News Nation, bringing this up so people can keep informed. I'm on the Gulf Coast of Texas, and we have hurricanes, and I've lived in a 20-mile radius 72 years, and hurricanes are bad, but this is so much more different, this flooding, because the river rose so rapidly in, I think, 45 minutes, 26 feet. People had no warning, no notice. And Chip Roy is a good friend of mine, Congressman Chip Roy, that's his district. And Anna, I've spent time in Kerrville, where me and my beautiful bride and kids were RVers. We've camped there. Beautiful area, beautiful area. We knew that there was some subjectivity to flooding and flash floods, if you will, but nothing like this. Everybody I'm talking to in our district here, parts go out to them. Some of them have left to go up and help, even though, as you pointed out earlier, they've been asked not to come out. I guess professional rescue team will be working on that. But we're Texans. We stick together.
Yes.
We come together, and that's what we're looking to do with Kerrville and get through this.
All right. To your point, too, there is some confusion and frustration about the forecast and the warnings that went out or didn't go out about the storm system. Let's take a listen to what Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem had to say about it.
The weather is extremely difficult to predict, but also that the National Weather Service over the years at times has done well, and at times we have all wanted more time and more warning and more alerts and more notification. That is something, and one of the reasons that when President Trump took office that he said he wanted to fix, and is currently upgrading the technology.
So let's go ahead and take a look at the timeline here. So the first alert actually did go out at 1:18 in the afternoon on Thursday, but this was just a flood watch that was issued. And then just so that you can see this, I'll do this here. Then Friday at 1:14 in the morning, the life-threatening flash flood alert went out for Kerr County by the National Weather Service. And then we know that it just continued to go downhill from there. But what is the issue here? Is this an outdated technology issue? Some are saying that it could potentially be due to staffing cuts and budget cuts from DOGE at the National Weather Service. What's your take on this?
Well, I don't think anybody should try to make this political. As I said, I'm on the Gulf Coast. We have hurricanes. You get 3, 4, 5, 6-day warning with hurricanes. People can decide whether to stay or go. They didn't get those warnings. They didn't have that amount of time here. And I'm a native Texan. I've driven all over Texas. Me and my wife are RVers. We take a travel trailer and our grandkids and go camping. And I've never seen anything like this, Anna, that happened so quickly and so fast. I've been in the Guadalupe. I've been around New Braunfels. I've been in Kerrville. I've been in Ingram, as we talked about. I've never seen anything like this. So I would hope people would be a little reluctant to say that somehow there was politics involved in this, because you can't predict the weather, and especially when it's something this fast and this big and bad.
Yeah, and these girls, particularly at Camp Mystic there, they've been going there for, it's been around for 100 years or something, so multiple generations go there, and they certainly felt like they were sending their kids somewhere safe and somewhere that's special to their hearts as well. A mother of 2 of the campers rescued from that camp were on News Nation earlier, and she says her kids were able to get out, but she also says kids aren't allowed to have cell phones there. Let's listen to her conversation.
Part of the experience, I guess, of this camp is there is no AC. We can't talk to our girls on the phone. They get to really unplug. I'm glad my girls are home safe. I was one of, the many lucky parents who can say that.
Yeah, and that is part of the allure of going to summer camp, isn't it? You get to be one with nature, you unplug finally, you don't have your cell phone with you. But, then potentially something like this could happen. How about the signal for officials at the camp? Is there cell service there? Do you know that's good enough for the organizers at the camp and the directors to have received those alerts from the Weather Service?
Well, I would assume so, Anna. I haven't been. It's been over 10 or 12 years since we've been out that to that area, and I'm assuming that grew over time, and that officials would have the wherewithal to make necessary emergency communications. But even with that, Anna, if you stop and think, like I said, on the time frame, it happened so fast. You're scattering around trying to make some kinds of arrangements, and you just don't have enough time to make a bunch of plans. You go door to door, like I said, get up, get up, get out, get out. And it happens so fast that, it's just sad that there was so much loss to life.
Right. Yeah. And so, of course, everybody's searching for answers and searching for someone or something to blame. And that's the definition of a flash flood, right? It happens so fast.
Yes,
Could this
ma'am.
tragedy bring to light the importance for areas outside of cities and suburbs to have services through services like Starlink? I covered Hurricane Helene in my home state of North Carolina too, and not many people had even heard of Starlink, and now it's common vernacular. Is this something that we should have everywhere?
Well, that's something we should sure look at. But as I said earlier, people just aren't used to that kind of flood. I'm glad to hear you're in North Carolina. One of our granddaughters lives in North Carolina.
Nice.
And so we watched that devastation. We watched that unfold. And again, this is unspeakable. This is unpredictable. When you get whatever 10, 12 hours notice, and let's not forget this, Miss Anna, that half of that was through the nighttime hours when
Right.
people were sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
So it really was so many problems for people to keep up with. But yeah, I've been in contact with Texas Department of Emergency Management. We call them TDEM for short, keeping up with the progress. And we want all of our agencies to be ready, willing, and able to serve. Most of them, when you talk about being out, away from the cities, it's going to be volunteers, Anna, and they do the best job. They have a vested interest because their families live there. They live in these areas, and they have a vested interest in making sure those things don't happen. And it just breaks your. I've been at some of these. It just breaks your heart.
It does.
When you see that with the death. It does.
Yeah, especially when it's kids. This one just really is hitting different somehow too. What are you hearing from your constituents? Are they worried about more severe weather? We just had that live report from our Jorge Ventura, and it looked like there wasn't any rain happening right then. But for the first responders, it's important for them to stay safe. It's important for people on the ground to stay safe. What are your constituents saying?
Well, some of our constituents have gone up there in spite of some of the officials saying, please don't come, let us get all the work we can done. And they are watching this with a great degree of interest because, like I said, we are in Hurricane Alley in the Gulf Coast of Texas, Galveston. I'm 35 miles north of Galveston. And they're concerned. They have friends, and it breaks your heart. We have friends on Facebook who are enumerating some of their families there, and they haven't been able to get in touch with them. And that just breaks your heart.
It does. And, every time we get an update on the numbers, they just seem to creep up way too fast. And every time emergency management says we expect them to go up, and they still haven't wanted to give an estimate on how many they believe are missing exactly. Texas Republican Congressman Randy Weber, appreciate your time today, and our heart goes out to the Lone Star State.
Thank you.